We begin with breaking news, and the truck driver who killed 4 police officers in Melbourne's Eastern Freeway tragedy has just been sentenced. Reporter Eliza Rogue was in court and joins us now. Eliza, how long will Mohinder Singh spend behind bars?
Brett, Mohinder Singh has been sentenced to 22 years jail for causing the deadliest day in the history of Victoria Police. He must serve 18 years and 6 months before he is eligible for parole. Singh remained silent throughout the hearing. He was actually led out of the courtroom directly in front of the victims' families. They all stared at him as he was led out. We're outside the Supreme Court at the moment, just waiting for them to come out and make a statement. The judge described this crime as one that shocked the public consciousness here in Victoria. He noted the events of what happened to Mohinder Singh in the lead up, his drug dealing, drug using, and the fact that it was chilling. The vision of the crash was so chilling to watch, and it was clear that the police officers never stood a chance. We know that on April 22 last year, Mohinder Singh was so fatigued he barely slept in 3 days when he got behind the wheel and he made the decision to drive. The judge slammed him as selfish, but the judge also noted that Mohinder Singh, since then, he's shown remorse and he put in an early guilty plea. That's what's led the judge to this sentence of 22 years, which is a high sentence for culpable driving causing death here in Victoria. Unfortunately, this is not the end of the legal process for the victims' families. In a couple of weeks, they have to come back to court. That's for the sentence of Richard Pusey, the Porsche driver who filmed the dying police officers on the Eastern Freeway. And Brett, next week marks 1 year since this tragedy. Victoria Police is planning a private memorial service for those families.
And fresh from staring down a killer, the families of 4 police officers gather at Justice's door, finding little solace in the sentencing of Mohinder Singh.
No amount of punishment can replace the loss of our loved ones and the missing place at our tables that will be felt by us for the rest of our lives.
The incident which sparked their anguish is burned into the minds of many. Shortly after pulling over a Porsche on Melbourne's Eastern Freeway, Lynette Taylor, Kevin King, Glenn Humphreys and Joshua Presney were killed when a truck ploughed into them. The driver was Mohinder Singh. Never before seen footage shows Singh drifting into the emergency lane and a near miss before the tragic crash. The father of 2 was high on ice, severely sleep-deprived and actively psychotic, convinced that a witch had cast a spell on him.
The police officers had no hope. Their deaths are entirely unnecessary and should have been avoided. Their deaths were caused by you.
For his crimes, Mohinder Singh was today ordered to spend 22 years behind bars.
These 4 fallen members of ours, our colleagues, our mates, died protecting the community from these very things that ultimately took their lives.
Right now in Victoria, there are police people undertaking the same duties that happened on April the 22nd on the Eastern Freeway, and that's not lost on us as leaders about our responsibility to keep our people safe.
Mohinder Singh is 48 years old. He'll be 66 before he's eligible for parole. This tragic chapter isn't over. The man who police were pulling over that night, Richard Pusey, will be sentenced at the end of the month.
Good evening. The Porsche driver at the centre of a police tragedy has been described as evil, as detectives accused him of filming a critically injured officer when she pleaded for help. Police claim a body camera captured Richard Pusey taunting the mother of 2 in the moments after a truck hit 4 officers.
Police say this man watched one of their own die, and all he did was pull out his phone.
Sometimes events occur when you're reminded that evil walks among us, and this has been one of those days.
Detectives told the court Richard Pusey filmed leading senior constable Lynette Taylor as she lay on top of his Porsche after she was hit by a truck on the Eastern Freeway. They say her body camera shows him walking around her, recording her agony as she groaned for help that never came.
It's completely sickening and disgusting. And, you know, there's almost no words for it.
The mortgage broker, however, did have words for the dying police officer. He was captured saying, "There you go, amazing, absolutely amazing. All I wanted to do was go home and have my sushi. Now you my car."
I think this week
4 police heroes died and 1 coward lived. And I think he'll probably be able to live with himself because they're soulless. It's a soulless comments.
The detail of Senior Constable Taylor's dying moments have left her family deeply traumatised. Police revealed Pusey had been pulled over for driving at 149 kilometres per hour. It's alleged he returned a positive test for ice and cannabis. But soon after the first ambulance arrived, Pusey allegedly hitched a lift with a witness and went home. He then spent the night sending videos from the scene to other police officers he knew. After the horrific details of Pusey's alleged crimes were read out, the officer in charge asked the magistrate if they could take a moment to remember the 4 fallen officers. Her Honour agreed and the courtroom fell silent. And while the families of 4 officers have an entire city supporting them, all Pusey had was his wife.
Do you have anything to say about what Richard did? Anything to say to the victims and their families? Anything to say about the court process?
Chanel Vella, 7 News.
One of the 4 heroes has been described by his partner as loving, bubbly and deeply loved. The families of the 4 officers have today been planning their funerals as police say they've been overwhelmed by the support from Victorians in their toughest week.
A grieving partner cast into a new world by a tragedy no one can yet explain.
My soulmate has gone.
Constable Glenn Humphreys died on Wednesday night doing the job he loved. He'd been in the service for a short time. He earned his Masters in exercise physiology before joining Victoria Police to help people. His partner says his smile lit up the room.
That's what I want to be here to let everybody know that he wore a uniform, but he was a person under that uniform who came home to someone, and that day he didn't.
The families of the 3 other officers killed are enduring the same agony and unable to support each other in person. Relatives, colleagues and friends have gone online. Lynette Taylor, a veteran of 31 years, remembered as the most loyal and devoted family woman, a brave and intrepid explorer who loved to celebrate with a glass of champagne. Josh Presney, in the force just a few months, praised as a wonderful man with so much potential. And father of 3, Kevin King, the loveliest bloke taken far too soon. Your shift is over. We've got it from here. Victorians are grieving as one. More than 100 of Melbourne's best-known buildings turned blue in solidarity with the police community. A show of support police say means everything.
We saw Melbourne light up in blue, and we also saw a little flicker in the hearts of our members light up as well.
Resolution X was one of the light companies which organised last night's installations. Their work has dried up during the COVID-19 crisis and still staff came in for free.
We also had a lot of our casual crew come in and some volunteered as well to come out just to help feel part of the community again and get back to what they're used to doing.
The National Cabinet of Premiers and Prime Minister also passed a condolence motion.
This is a devastating reminder of the risks that their serving police officers or in their families take each and every day.
If there is a positive, it's the outpouring of positivity and support to know that the community have got our back, as well as us having the community's back, is so, we feel so supported for that, so thank you.
Because of social distancing rules, each officer will be farewelled separately over the next week with a small funeral which will be live streamed. There'll then be a much larger public service for all officers when the COVID-19 crisis is finally over. Laurel Irving, 7 News.
And there are new details coming in from the investigation into why the truck hit the 4 police officers. Tegan Doling is tracking developments. Tegan, the allegation is that drugs were found in the truck.
Mitch, police are investigating if the truck driver Mohinder Singh Bajwa had been using the drug ice. It's alleged cannabis, methamphetamine and an ice pipe were found in his cabin after the crash. 7 News has been told by one friend of 3 decades the truckie didn't even drink, let alone do drugs. The 46-year-old remains here in hospital. Police had hoped to question him this afternoon, but they have just revealed that that has been pushed back. 7 News has also been told that the investigation has found there were no indications of an attempt to brake before the impact. Police sources say the driver is now facing the likelihood of being charged with 4 counts of culpable driving causing death.
A trucking boss is facing 82 charges, including manslaughter, after a driver was sent out on a final delivery run that ended with the deaths of 4 police officers. The truck driver's family has told a court they feared he would kill someone if he got behind the wheel that day.
Trucking supervisor Simon Tuteru was responsible for ensuring his drivers were safe behind the wheel. One of his employees wasn't, and it cost 4 police officers their lives. Mohinder Singh was high on ice and hadn't slept for days when he ploughed into the officers along the Eastern Freeway. The Connect logistics manager is facing 82 charges, including manslaughter, accused of encouraging Singh to make one more delivery when he should have kept him off the road. Singh's wife and children were quizzed about his declining mental state in the hours leading up to the deadly crash. He was rambling about seeing a witch, and Singh's daughter gave evidence she begged her father not to drive. The way he was acting that day scared me, and I thought he was going to kill someone if he drove. His eyes were racing. I knew there was something wrong with him. But Singh says he was under pressure to meet with his boss. He said, "I have to go, otherwise I'll get fired." He went anyway. He didn't see another choice. The husband of leading senior constable Lynette Taylor, one of the 4 officers killed, enduring another harrowing chapter in this legal saga. The killer truck driver is behind bars for the next 22 years, but he's now agreed to give evidence against his former boss. Mohinder Singh will be transferred from prison here to the Melbourne Magistrates Court, where he'll face Simon Tuteru for the first time since the day of the tragedy. He's also accused of allowing other truck drivers to pull dangerously long shifts, exceeding permitted working hours, putting road users at risk. All in all, according to police, an accident waiting to happen.
Been a major development in the Eastern Freeway tragedy. The boss of killer truck driver Mohinder Singh has had major charges thrown out in court. Let's go straight to Rochelle Brown now. Rochelle, the manslaughter charges have been sensationally dropped.
Beck, Simon Tuteru fronted the Supreme Court today on the eve of his trial and was told all manslaughter charges relating to the deadly Eastern Freeway crash had been dropped. Tuteru was charged with 4 counts of manslaughter after it was alleged he permitted truck driver Mohinder Singh to drive while fatigued on the day he mowed down and killed officers Lynette Taylor, Glenn Humphries, Joshua Presti and Kevin King in April 2020. No explanation was given for the prosecution's sudden change of heart, the judge stating it was most unsatisfactory. Other charges relating to heavy vehicle national law remain in place.
If you're an individual, you can get jail time of up to 5 years, or if you're a corporation, around $3.5 million in penalties. When it comes to the regulation of trucking and trucking businesses, there are alternatives available to prosecutors, either through the criminal law and serious driving offences under the criminal law. Alternatively, it gets handed over to the national regulator.
Tuteru had planned to fight the initial charges, pleading not guilty. His lawyer told the court he had always had the view the prosecution's manslaughter case was weak.